But I know the process doesn't change in terms of week to week, but you've played in these games, obviously you've coached them. Is there something about the Essendon games that you maybe relish a bit more on a personal level or a club level?
I don't see too much difference with the rivalry between Carlton and Collingwood versus Carlton and Essendon. I think the history that's been in place for years, there's always a little bit more to it, but I think what we've sort of identified over the last few years is, the 4 points are there every week, and if we change there and try and lift emotions above and beyond, it probably doesn't have the best of outcomes. I think if we stick to the process and get that right, the opportunity to win those 4 points are there. Yeah, the beauty for us probably is we've got an 8-day turnaround. Compared to we came off a 6 and Collingwood came off a 6 as well. Essendon came off a 6 this week compared to our 8. So I think the run will be it'll be interesting to see if we've got more run in the game. But when that ball's bounced, I think it'll be about our approach and I suppose Essendon's approach at the footy as well.
There might have been people outside the clubs that had you guys ahead of them before the start of the season. How do you look at Essendon and their start? And how do you rate it against your guys?
I think it's pretty even. I think statistically there's a lot of things that are similar, and I think their form's been outstanding. I think NAB Cup form going through to the grand final over the last few years has really stood up, and they've sort of transferred that into the home and away season. So they've done a really good job to come out swinging, and they're playing good football. So we'll have to be on our game, but I think our form's pretty good as well. I think our NAB Cup form, we played Adelaide and won, close one against Geelong. I think the indicators for us are very good as well.
It's nice we give you more confidence, because it was really just that 1 quarter period and you were right there with the premiers the entire way.
I think things that we've concentrated on and then reviewed in the meetings and that have given us a lot of confidence to go forward in the game plan and the way it sits. I think, that gives us some confidence, self-belief. I think some of the players that played in that game got some self-belief in themselves about their own ability against some very good players. So, it does, but it's a lot of footy to be played, and we know confidence can slip, and that'll be, I suppose, for the coaches and the group to maintain that.
In that review, what particularly did you do well? What were you pleased with?
I thought we outnumbered Collingwood at a lot of situations, which was pleasing. I think there was aspects of the game. I thought the stoppage area of the game was good, but probably scores from stoppages leaked a little bit, which we reviewed that. And I thought we really competed through the midfield, and they've been very strong and probably dominated us with a possession over the last few years. I think it was about pretty much even between the arcs from a possession point of view. That's somewhere where they probably had about 20 to 30 possessions more than us the last couple of times we played them. So I thought that was very good. Our tackle numbers early were outstanding. I think we slipped away in the last quarter a bit, but early doors they were very, very good.
Essendon's run and spread just the last half dozen times prior to the last game, obviously have done the damage. Do you feel that your team defence, I suppose, as a whole, as a collective, is improved considerably in last season before?
I think early doors we've probably kept the opposition down in inside 50s. On the weekend it was 55, but that's been something that's been pleasing. I think with Jamison back in the team and the way he played on the weekend, I think was really encouraging, and we've seen him have a great pre-season. So to have him as our general back there to lead the troops will be pretty important, I reckon.
Paul Bell?
He'll be close. I think that'll sort of come up this afternoon in regards to his form and is he ready to go. He's missed about 3 to 4 weeks. He played last week, played pretty well, but how much is enough to get through an AFL game, limited rotations with now 3 and the sub rule, so that'll really take into consideration as well.
There's a few guys there now, isn't there? I mean, apart from Matty Cruz or Henderson as well, and Brian McLean, you've got a few options.
Yeah, Allard went back, Lucas was there. Yeah, we've got a few options, and Satana will be back this week as well, so yeah, we're getting a few back.
How important this week, Brett, is the battle of the ruckman?
Yeah, Robbie's form, I thought last week in hit-outs against Jolly was very good. I think we got our hands on the ball first a fair bit. We probably didn't make the most of it at ground level at times or that, but he got his hands on the ball first, which was really pleasing. You know, Bell Chambers is in good form. He gave them great service. Whether they bring Hill back, I think it's a mixed view whether he'll come back or not. And then what a great luxury to have Ryder as a second ruckman. I think most teams would love to have that option as well. So yeah, I think the ruckman battle will be very, very important in the game.
Do you sort of focus on fresh legs this week, given that it's Essendon?
No, not really. I think there was aspects of our game that we probably had to spread a little bit harder and run a little bit harder, but overall our GPS numbers were good. I wouldn't say it was actually our running in the game that was a deficiency for us. I thought, probably at the front end we just didn't lock the ball in. They had 17 inside 50 stoppages, we had 4. That tells the story, I think.
They've obviously changed dramatically in the off-season, but Alan Richardson, any sort of more help than what he might otherwise be?
He's sort of already spoken briefly about Essendon. We'll get into that, but it'll probably be more of a personnel thing. We've seen him a fair bit, so we went Sunday and watched, and you've just seen how they're playing. It's a lot different than the way they played last year. So he'll probably talk about more the individuals and some of their mindsets more than probably how the style of play is for them.
Yeah. Brett, in a match full of very good midfielders last week, Ed Kerner was probably one of the better players in that. I mean, how much has his emergence surprised you? And I guess, how consistent do you see him being through the season? He's been terrific in the first 3 games today.
Yeah, it's an amazing story that you think he came in with a broken ankle and he was in a running program, and before you know it, he's got himself up to play a practice match, played really well, NAB Cup game. Allard gets suspended, and I think opportunity is a big thing in AFL football. He got the opportunity, and he virtually took Davey's spot off him. And that's a kid who's desperate, hungry, wants to make a big impression, and he's gone about his work ethic and I suppose the way he wants to be perceived as a player. I think everyone outside the footy world, just like we are, sitting there thinking he works extremely hard and he's trying to get the most out of himself, and did a really good job on Pendlebury in the second half of the game on the weekend as well.
Bryce Gibbs, how have you seen his performance over the opening rounds, and how would you sort of define his role?
As a midfielder?
As the role that he's playing over these 3 rounds, what is he?
Well, he's played as a midfielder. I think he went back for 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes in one of the games to give us a little bit of support. But yeah, he's gone and won the footy. I think sometimes he's probably won a little bit more outside footy than inside footy, and sometimes that just works with opportunity. If someone's there winning the ball, do you want him to go and rip the ball out of his teammate's hand? No, you don't. And Murphy, Judd, Robertson, probably Kerno have really knuckled down and won that first possession or been in there to get those balls, and he's been outside a little bit more. So I think he's done a pretty good job. Played on Pendlebury in the first half. We wanted to change it up to get him into the game, and he did a reasonable job as well. So yeah, I think he's going well.
I know Essendon's going well, but if you're going to be a top 4 team this year, these are the sort of games you just have to win.
Yeah, I think in our progression as a group, we want to make sure that every week we're winning. This is another challenge, a little bit different to Collingwood, I think, with but still the task is going to be really big on the day. Top 4, we want to win a final. We want to get ourselves into a position that we can, and then from there, who knows what will evolve. But yeah, winning this week is very high on my priorities.
I know what it's done. The AFL said today they've given a tick to that free kick that went against Jordan Russell that went to Jared Blair. What do you make of it? Surprised?
That's their interpretation.
Do you think it was the wrong decision?
No idea. Just first time you told me, so a little surprised.
With the 2 discretionary changes you made last week, it seems like you picked a team to do a job. Do you take the same approach this week?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's I suppose the group or our list's ability to have a lot more depth on board, and I think it's given us a greater flexibility at the selection table to bring players into our group in really good form, where maybe in the previous 12 months, 2 years, we've sort of brought players who have played okay, but more from, I hope he does this or he needs to do this. It'd be great if he could do this, but now we go in there saying, no, he will do this job, he's in good form, our depth is a lot better, and we can call on any player to do any role.
You canvassed all those options before. Do you expect many changes?
I expect a couple of changes. Yeah, probably at least a couple, but we don't want to. Our performance was pretty solid. There was players that were down that we know who can respond really quickly. So from that point, I don't think there'll be huge changes, and we don't want to. Just because we're playing this team and we have to pick a new team, no, we'll back players in to do the role for us.
Eddie Betts had a quiet one. Is his position in peril?
No, but he'll have to respond well, I think.
So those changes, are they form-based, or is there going to be an injury-based change?
No, more form, yeah. It's more about the form and players that, we want to get back into the team, or, looking ahead, or playing maybe just not one role but 2 roles on the day will be pretty critical as well. Conditions might play a part as well. They're tipping rain again for the next 3 or 4 days. That'll probably transfer into Saturday as well, I think, on the weather report, which they had sun and rain, so they've got one thing right, haven't they?
You said James would be a tougher opponent as a player or a coach?
Don't know. I haven't coached against him yet, but he's a terrific player. One of the champions of the game. So, maybe that Carlton rivalry versus Essendon rivalry really come out. But no, it won't change for me. But he's coaching really well at the moment. He's got a great crew behind him as well. It's about the support behind the coach as well. And we'll have a big challenge. So it'll be good for us to get a win. We want to get a win, and just like they do.